Jimmy.
Now, what's worth doing is worth doing for money.
Straight from y'all street to Wall Street.
Anybody tells you money's the root of all evil, doesn't make up.
Dudes wake up, hope their girl turned on so they can get a little bit. Only woman in the morning I wanna turn on this Becky quick. While the average man looking at this sad like she fine as it. I'm over here looking at tails and whips like 5-6. I left the mayhem for the market. Now I don't want a dope spot, I want a stop pick. I know that booty got dropped, triggered my stop losses, but I ain't got time for your wop. My V-wops crossing. Rich with hot V's and pushing hot strategy and plans to make grand. Still in my wife beater, Batman pajamas, house slides, and about 5 hot picks for the day. Cause I like the way the Dow bounce. 4 hot dips on call, so I got options. 2 with a lot of volume, 1 with a double bottle. Now I know dumb money don't understand. Am I talking about my trade or just thinking with my MACD? You see, we different in the way we move. You move with kittens and your dog, I move with bears and bulls. I got a green thought, grow with the marijuana. Waking up with the fun, some commas. Jump out of bed, big profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and die. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL, make profits. I jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. See, me and Jim Cramer been talking mad money. Said today I'm taking a risk. They got the feds coming, but I got support here with me. I call a short squeeze. You get the drop, pull the trigger, and abort these. If she stay on my watch list, I might have to wife her. But I know better. I'm a true trading group lifer. Call up the Wolf of Weed Street. It's time to flip some profits. Go ahead, be hawking. Get your spot here. I'll double top that in the head and shoulders. Hit him up with this resistance. Watch him roll over. Cause I see John Wicks in contract. If I say I make $1 million a day, well, that's a large cap. You moving average, that's why you get crossed. Get split, get delisted, and knocked off. And I'm setting the whole block off. I'm buying GameStop and selling them roadblocks off. Jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and stop. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL. Hey, my family. Hey, go, what we doing, my man? Hey, make profits. Hey, Shug, Mike, what we doing? Hey, make profits. Yo, Wolf, Professor, what we doing? Hey, make profits. That TTG money gang, making profits. We some snipers.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? What's going on, folks? Welcome to the True Trading Group live stream. We are here now, back-to-back days, live with all of you for earnings. We were here with you guys live last night for Meta and Microsoft. And then now we're here live for you guys for Amazon, Apple, and Coinbase. Amazon and Coinbase are out, both stocks trading significantly lower, and Apple still yet to come. So what we are going to go through here now is we're going to talk about some of those earnings. We have some time here before we get in through Apple, but a reversal day today. A reversal day in the overall markets. We had talked about this in the live stream yesterday. We talked about this in the pre-market session here this morning inside our True Trading Group, that the markets have just felt tired and that you've had some really good pieces of news over the last couple of days that have been unable to move the markets higher. That to me is a sign that the markets have gotten tired. That to me is a sign that we could be upon, a little bit of a profit-taking type of scenario. I have 2 short positions that I'm currently already in. One of them I've been in for the last couple of days. Another one I just entered today. And I'm going to go through and explain to you guys what those positions are, what I'm expecting from those stocks, what I think about the overall market. But you look at the last couple of days, we've had good news about a trade deal with the European Union, better than expected GDP, better than expected ADP numbers, better than expected jobless claims, working towards a deal with South Korea, an extension on the deadline with a lot of progress made with Mexico, Meta and Microsoft earnings, all-time highs. And in the face of all of those things that I just mentioned to you, the markets have not been able to move higher the last 3 trading days. That to me is a market that's getting a little tired, that maybe the rally that we've experienced off those April lows are getting a little long in the tooth. And I think we could be getting ready for a little bit of a profit-taking pullback. And I've positioned myself for such a profit-taking pullback. So we'll talk about what those positions are. We'll talk about what I expect, what my targets are. But first, let's cover all of the earnings that we've got rolling out. If you guys are new to the True Trading Group YouTube channel, I want to welcome you all here. My name is Michael Edward Perinati. I go by Michael Edward. I'm the co-founder and head trader of TTG. You have to understand True Trading Group literally exists to help you guys to learn faster, trade smarter, and to profit sooner. It's exactly what we're going to do here on this live stream. I want to thank our partners. TTG is powered by the NASDAQ, Benzinga, OpenAI, TradingView, DataBento, and Unusual Whales. TTG is an award-winning platform, guys. In 2024, we actually received the Benzinga FinTech Award for Best AI Analysis Tool. It's a platform that's built on education, that's backed by experience. Myself and 8 other professional traders guide our members through each and every single trading day, strategies that are proven by our success and tools that are all available and built all specifically around you. So no matter what you trade, we trade stocks, options, crypto futures, no matter how much experience you have, whether you just opened up an account 2 months ago, or if you've been trading professionally for 20 years and you used to be a NASDAQ market maker like one of our members of TTG, and then we have everything in between. So there's something literally for everybody here at True Trading Group. We have over 10,000 members in 114 different countries, truly a global community here at True Trading Group. If you're wondering why I should listen to anything it is that I discuss, again, we still do have some time here before we get Apple's earnings. Reddit is out, Coinbase, Amazon, we'll talk about them all. But why should you listen to what I talk about on this channel? It's very simple. I don't believe in the world's greatest trader, but I think you should pay attention to what we talk about here because I began my trading career working at T3 Alpha Fund in New York City. It's my first job out of college. They had me go through a training program before they let me touch $1 of the firm's money. And then 2008 happened, which was the Great Recession and the big stock market crash. And that's also the same year that I received one of the firm's Trader of the Year awards. Now you fast forward, I'm the co-founder and head trader of TTG, along with my team of those 8 other professional traders and a 30-person staff. We've helped over 10,000 members from 114 different countries reach their goals. Okay, so if you haven't done so yet, smash that like button, show some love, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Do not ever miss out on any of these live streams. We're dropping golden nuggets here, guys, on a regular basis. First up on the earnings side, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon's earnings were not bad. They are top and bottom line beats, but their AWS business was a little bit of a disappointment. Not necessarily a disappointment that they missed. They just kind of came right in line with an expectation. That growth rate was nowhere near as high as the growth rate as their competitors, Microsoft with Azure and Google Cloud. That AWS experienced about a 17% growth. The others experience, about 30% growth. So a little bit of a disappointment there when you compare it to your competitors as far as growth. The numbers as far as revenue for AWS came right in line with expectations. I'll go through the numbers here with you guys. The headline numbers before we break down AWS. Q2 earnings per share is a beat, $1.68 versus $1.30. Sales are also a beat, $168 billion versus $162 billion were the analyst expectations. Think about how large that number is for a second when you talk about the sheer volume of sales revenue. $167.7 billion. That is such an unbelievable number. Crazy. Those are the overall numbers. Sorry, guys, I'm having like a allergy attack right before I came on the stream here. But yeah, AWS coming in 30.87 billion. Analysts were expecting 30.77 billion. So basically right in line there with AWS. So I think you look at the anticipation of growth was right around 17%, came in at 17%. AWS sales net sales were expected at 30.77 billion. They came in at 30.87 billion. So it's not that these are bad numbers. It's not that they're misses. It's just that when Google reported, when Microsoft reported, they reported much stronger numbers for Google Cloud and then for Azure, which are the competitors to AWS. So I think that's probably what the drag is on the stock right now with Amazon. A lot of people see AWS and that side of their business as being one of the real pure drivers of growth for Amazon over the next couple of years. So to see those numbers come in a little bit of a disappointment relative to their competitors, I think that's what's got the stock, on a drag now. Red on the day, down a small amount. We're down 0.7 on the day, down more than that though from the after hours print as the stock was up a couple of points going into that. So yeah, AWS revenue growth was 17.5%. Analysts were expecting 17.2%. But again, when you compare that to what Microsoft and Alphabet reported, they're not necessarily close. So I think that's why you're getting this a little bit of a drag on Amazon. You're also at a pretty tough resistance level, which is the all-time high. You have a double top all-time high up here from earlier this year, up around the 241, 242 zone. And it just looks like we just kind of ran into that level here. So there it is. So if I draw a line right across that double top resistance back from 2025, you can see that that's right where the stock just topped out here now. So, and you're getting this little bit of a pullback here. Support level on Amazon is going to be down around 224. Okay. So down around 224 is where you're looking at for there to be support level there for Amazon. You also have a minor support level right here at 227. I don't know if 227 is strong enough to reverse the stock from here. I think that maybe a pullback down towards 224 could be in order for tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens during the conference call. If you guys, recall, I will always remind you that sometimes the conference call could move the stock even more than the earnings print themselves. You saw Meta trade higher yesterday. You saw Microsoft trade higher yesterday during those conference calls. You've seen a stock like Tesla have massive swings during those conference calls. So Amazon would fall into that category of a potential huge move following the conference call. So just keep that in mind. All right. But I think that you're probably looking at a move that takes you back down to this line you see drawn across my screen. That's in the mid to low 220s there for Amazon as we get a little bit more of a profit-taking pullback on Amazon and a little bit of a profit-taking pullback on other stocks and just the overall market as a whole. I think we're gearing up for that. Okay. Next up, we've got Coinbase. Coinbase with a significant move to the downside. Coinbase is now down 7.5%. And Coinbase actually missed on revenue. So analysts were expecting 1.59 billion in revenue, and they fell short at 1.5. So that is a little bit of a surprise, especially with everything that was going on with Bitcoin rallying to new all-time highs and the activeness of their user base. They also missed on their earnings per share. Earnings per share came in at 12 cents. Analysts were expecting $1.35. So it's a big miss on earnings per share, and it is a pretty sizable miss. It's a pretty sizable miss also on sales revenue there for Coinbase. So that's got the stock trading down 7.5%. That is a failed break of an all-time high. So you guys can see with Coinbase, we tried to break the all-time high that was put in place off of its IPO up there in the 400s, right? And you can see we tried to break it here for these couple of days. We're unable to do so. We tailed through it. Momentum took you through it. You've tailed through it, and the stock is now put in, I don't know how many, 10 consecutive red days, whatever it is. You can see just red day after red day after red day here. And I'd say your support levels for Coinbase will be around that 330s, 340s. I'd say 330s. Let's call it 330s to 340. That's going to be your support zone. And I'll draw the line. I'll just show it to you guys here. All right. So here you go. So if you guys taking a look, we've got some resistance here from the end of 2024, right? From the end of 2024. And then you've got, it became a little bit of support right here in July. And then now you have the dark blue line you see on my screen. That is the 50-day moving average. That lines up there for some support as well. So I think that for Coinbase, I would start to target this area right down in here, guys, for a pullback on Coinbase. I don't think that this pull in Coinbase, I don't think it's over yet. I think that stock has some more room to the downside. We did just get another leg lower on Amazon right into that support level that I just talked to you about. So there it is. So there's now your pullback into this support level. So here's the support level that I just talked to you about just a moment ago. And now you see the stock trying to find a bid, trying to bounce here. You can see we just cut right through. I told you minor support level at 227 though. Don't think it holds. There you were sitting at 227. Bang, it broke right down into your stronger support level of 223. And right now you can see we're trying to hang in there. All right. So let's see if the stock's able to kind of find its footing here. We still have Apple. That's going to be coming out in 11 minutes. It looks like they usually come out around 4:30. But I got to be honest with you, because I think the overall market is due for a little bit more of a pullback. I think that Amazon might eventually get to like 218. That's the 50-day moving average. That's previous support in 24, December of 24, January of 25. You broke underneath it in February, then it became resistance, and then it was resistance in June. You gapped above it in June, then it became support in July. So those are your next two support levels, and I'll give you a third. So I'm going to give you all these levels, guys. Okay, so you've got your resistance, double top, all-time high. That's 240. Okay, 241. Then you have your first support level, which is being tested right now, of 223. Then you've got a larger support level that is more significant than the support level being tested now. That's 218. Now you'll see this dark blue line on my screen. That's the 50-day moving average. Okay, dark blue line right here. You see it. That's 50-day moving average. As you pan that through, let's go all the way back and let's talk about the relevance of support levels. Okay, I'll show you. Here you can see support in December, support in January. You then broke underneath that in February. It then became resistance. Then fast forward over here to June of this year, resistance. You then push through that at the end of June. And then once you push through at the end of June, you can see we then sat back against that level in July and it became support. And then we rallied higher. Now you also have the 50-day moving average that sits right there. That is where I kind of actually think that Amazon might end up working itself down to, but it looks like we're going to try to bounce off of 223. That is that first support. Here is your secondary support. And then your third support level will be all the way down here around 209. I think you would need a pretty significant pullback in the market for Amazon to get to 209. I don't believe that that is a price that we're going to see in the very near future. I think it's a lot more likely the stock tries to bounce off of 223. Maybe tomorrow you try to hold it. But then I think the market experiences a little bit of a profit-taking pullback, and then that works Amazon down to 218. And then I believe that's a really nice support level down there that then the stock probably tries to put in a little bit of a near-term bottom and tries to bounce off of. But, we will see. Not a bad earnings release here from Amazon, just a little bit of a disappointment when you compare the AWS numbers compared to their competitors, Microsoft and Alphabet. What they just reported, they reported stronger growth numbers on that side of the business. So I think that's the drag there on Amazon. Okay. And then, like we said, with Coinbase, this is a disappointing earnings release. I think there's going to be more downside there on Coinbase. I have to just think that, as Bitcoin rallied to new all-time highs and, crypto was all the rage, you had all the conversations about, all the crypto legislation that was working its way through Congress. You had the IPO of the Circle. You had all these conversations about stable coins, and it was just crypto. And if that didn't help Coinbase beat on their earnings expectations. Remember, they missed on the top and bottom line. They missed on earnings per share. They missed on sales. And that's why the stock's down 7.5%. So if volatility cools off in crypto land, you could be looking at a scenario where you're going to be, seeing maybe less trading activity on the Coinbase platform. And I think the Coinbase maybe has a little bit more of a pullback that can take you into the 330s. I think would be a really nice spot. All right. And that's resistance back from November of 24. And then you have your major moving average there, the 50-day. I think it's a nice spot for the stock to just sit back down against and rest into. All right. Now let's hit on Reddit. All right, Reddit with a beautiful move here to the upside following their earnings. Let's go through the numbers. Earnings per share and sales are a beat, and they are substantial beats. Okay, this is why the stock is up 21%. Wow. I did not realize how much the stock was up. 21%. Wow. All right, let's run through it. 48 cents earnings per share. Analysts only expecting 19 cents. Sales, $499 million. Analysts only expecting $425 million. Those are very sizable beats on the top and bottom line there for Reddit. They also have a massive guidance raise. Q3 sales. Analysts were expecting $471.5 million. Reddit says, I see your 471 and I raise you another 50, another 60, 70. They give a range. Sorry. Yeah, they give a range. Okay. So here's the range. 535 million to 545 million. That is a massive raise on guidance. Okay, so very strong report there from Reddit. And that's got the stock up 21% now here today. All right. So as far as maybe support levels for a trade, 170. 170 looks like a decent little level that we can try to see if we can maybe play off of. You look back here to the left, you'll see just a little pivot support level there, nothing major. But then here's a bunch of resistance there. A nice little week and a half consolidation with some resistance up there around 170. And now that you've broken above that, we can look for that at maybe area now to be support. Nope, SA 202, incorrect. You're talking about it's up 13% on the closing print. I'm talking about it's up 21% on the day. So two different things. You can either use the percentage of what it is up from the close to right now or what it is up on the day. I'm saying it's up 21% on the day. So it is 13. I said incorrect. You were correcting me. You're not wrong. I'm just saying that I am not wrong either. It just depends on what you're referring to. So it's 13% from the close 26 minutes ago. It's 21% on the day. So it just depends on how you want to look at it. All right. It just depends how you guys want to look at it. All right. So yeah. All right. So that's Reddit. All right. That is Reddit. All right. All right. Now we've got, let's see, a couple more minutes before we get Apple. And we'll hit on Rocket Company. This is a stock that, a bunch of our members have actually traded a bunch lately. RKT. One of our moderators has, caught a nice little lengthy swing trade on this from June or the first week of July and caught that rally into 17. So let's talk about it. Oof. Earnings per share beat, but a pretty big miss on sales. 4 cents versus 3 cents, and sales come in at 909 million. Analysts were expecting 1.28 billion. That's a pretty big miss. But then their guidance is there. Their guidance is actually a beat. Earnings per share 4 cents. Analysts expect 3 cents. Estimate for sales 1.28 billion by analysts. Company expects 1.34. All right, so a nice guide there for RKT. So, that's a pretty big miss on sales for this quarter, but they're saying have no fear, next quarter will be better. Now, guys, we are waiting on Apple. Apple's got to make a splash. They've got to make a splash as it relates to AI, man. They have to. They've got to make a splash. Let's go to Cloudflare, NET. This is another stock that we have in the long-term portfolio that we also recently added to in April. Congratulations, all my members. We actually bought this stock in the 90s in April. The stock is now $221. Where's all my THD fam that absolutely knocked it out of the park with me on those April buys? Let's talk about Cloudflare. Earnings per share, 21 cents versus 18 cents. And analysts were expecting 501 million in sales. They come in at 512 million in sales. They see Q3 earnings per share, 23 cents versus 21 cents. And they see sales of 543.5 to 544.5 million. Analysts only expecting 538 million. They raised their full year outlook for 25 from 79 to 80 cents a share to 85 to 86 cents a share. Analysts were only expecting 80 cents, and they raised their sales guidance. Analysts were expecting 2.096 billion. They raised it to 2.11 to 2.115 billion for guidance for the full year. So just a really great report there from Cloudflare. Top and bottom line beat. Top and bottom line beat on Q3 outlook and guidance, and top and bottom line beat on full year guidance. All right, top and bottom line there. Apple is out. Let's go through it. Apple's initial move is to the upside. What do we got? Do we have any AI news? It's all I care about. I want to know, do you have any news about AI? Because we've got a huge resistance over here on Apple. Apple's resistance is 215 to 216. Okay, look at my chart. Look at the line I have drawn across my screen. It's right across 215. 215 was resistance during the April bounce back. It was resistance in May. It was resistance in July. It is still resistance here now. As they just reported earnings, the stock just shot all the way up to 215. And look at the high. The high is exactly $214.98. Okay, it's a great quarter. It's a huge beat. $1.57 versus $1.43 earnings per share. $94.04 billion in revenue. Analysts were only expecting $89.5 billion. It's a great top and bottom line beat. But there's nothing here about AI. iPhone revenue is a beat, 44.6 billion versus 40.2. Mac revenue beat, 8.05 versus 7.26. Still nothing, man. Still nothing on the AI front. What a disappointment. I don't think that this is going to be enough to break this resistance. I've been saying, if you guys have been on my live stream here for a while, what I have taught, well, here's the thing though. If they're going to make an announcement about AI, it'll probably come during the conference call. Okay. It'll probably come during the conference call if they make some type of an announcement around AI. So don't count Apple out just yet, because this is a really good quarter. I feel like investors are waiting for Apple to do something with AI. They've just not done anything. It's the biggest consumer electronics device company in the world. And they have not created yet a consumer product around AI that is an absolute must-have. And I don't know how much longer. I mean, that's why the stock has underperformed all the rest of your Mag 7s and your big tech companies, because they haven't done anything with AI. And, this resistance level is such a huge level that I just don't think just your regular, typical run-of-the-mill news, and trading on Apple is going to be enough to break through. I really feel like investors are just waiting for them to do something. There were those rumors that they were in talks to try to buy Perplexity. Then there was rumors that were in talks to try to buy Anthropic. I think that, that's a really good idea for them to do something like that. I mean, if you had some type of an announcement like that, then I think the stock would fly. I think the stock would fly. if you got something like that. But until then, guys, I don't know. I don't know if Apple is going to be able to really, significantly move higher without something related to AI. What I'll tell you is, if we got something, my portfolio manager from JP Morgan just actually sent me a text message. Hold on. My PM from JP Morgan just sent me their report for their highest conviction trades and sectors and what they're buying on any volatility. So basically identifying for me what it is that JP Morgan will be buying if and when markets pull back. All right, so he's sending me a bunch of stuff right now. I'll go over this with my members. If you guys, well, I won't do that here on the live stream, but I'll go over that stuff with my members. So yeah. So listen, that's where we are. The overall market hasn't really moved all that much on the back of these earnings. You had the whole market rallied yesterday when Microsoft and Meta reported. Now you got Apple to the upside, Amazon to the downside, and that's kind of just, giving you a little bit of a push-pull, and the markets are basically just flat from the close. But you guys can see this resistance, right? I mean, you guys don't need to be a master experienced chartist to do this. Jim Nanny, you're the one on my live stream, brother. My members. I'm a loser. You're just upset that you're not a member. Why would I give that information to you? Who are you? You think you just are entitled to that information? You're not. You're on my live stream. Get off. It's very simple. Bye, Jin. Kick rocks. Get lost. Get lost. You're on my live stream. Get lost. Fuck out of here. So my members of True Trading Group, I'll share that information with you guys. We talked today inside of chat. We talked today about, we came into the day today, and I was kind of a little bit about, like, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know what? I'm thinking about taking profits on some of the stuff that we've added to with today's gap up. He's sending me more stuff. I'm going to give it to everyone except Jin. Oh, wow. So he's sending me a bunch of stuff. He's sending me their beginning of the year. He's comparing where they are now with what they were looking at in the beginning of the year. And he's got their bull case and their their bull case and their base case. So bull case and base case. So that base case means what's the most likely outcome, and then bull case. And then bull case will be obviously, their most optimistic outcome. All right. So that is that. All right. So I'm really interested to see what happens during the Apple conference call. I feel like the stock is primed right now. It is primed right now. Okay. For a move to the 220s. But the only way I think that happens is if we get AI related news. It's such a beautiful chart setup. The stock is coiled up. You've got this resistance level. Take that resistance level out. I think you shoot straight to 222. 222 is a 200-day moving average, and 225 is price structure resistance from March. I don't think you get there unless we have news with AI. Okay? So we'll see what happens during the conference call. I see a bunch of people are asking about MicroStrategy. I will talk to you guys real quick about MicroStrategy. $32.52 earnings per share. That's a beat against 9-cent estimates. Sales come in at 114.5 million. That's a beat against 113 million. These numbers are totally irrelevant. I just want to put that out there. Nobody cares about MicroStrategy's earnings anymore. Michael Saylor has turned MicroStrategy, which used to be a software company, just into a Bitcoin ETF. MicroStrategy is going to move based on the value of the Bitcoin it holds, because that makes up such a massive percentage of their market cap. So they did 114 million in sales. You got to think about how many tens of billions of dollars of Bitcoin the company owns, right? So what is this? What's going on my screen? Yeah. So MicroStrategy owns just shy of 600,000 Bitcoin. That is an average with an average price of 60. Wow. So they own 600,000 Bitcoin. That's tens and tens of billions of dollars. They only did 114 million in sales, right? So nobody really cares. Oh, is it over 600? Oh, that's right. They just announced Brian, right? Didn't they just wasn't it yesterday or 2 days ago? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? They announced they bought more Bitcoin. Yeah, so I think you're right. Yeah, I didn't factor that in. Yeah, Brian, I think you're right. I think it is now like 620 something. I think it's 620 something thousand Bitcoin. I think you're right. But the figure comes, it's like $70 billion worth of Bitcoin. So that the price of Bitcoin going up or down is going to affect the price of MicroStrategy a lot more than their earnings are. You know, the company's earnings have become irrelevant to the valuation of the company, which is just a crazy and absurd and obscene thing to say, but that's what it is. The company owns $70 billion worth of Bitcoin on their books. So as the value of that goes up or down, the value of the company goes up or down. So nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So we'll see, guys, if I get anything here. Hold on. My kid's screaming. Sounds like my kid fell. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like the kid fell. But yeah, so with regards to Apple, somebody's asking me my thoughts on Apple. Apple, I think, listen, it's a good quarter. I just don't think that it's going to be enough to break that resistance without AI. That's what I think. You know, I'm anxious to see what happens with the conference call. Yeah, Reddit is really going nuts now. You're definitely right about that one, Alan. We are extending now to new highs on. Wow, look at this move on Reddit. We are now up 28% on the day. Wow, we are still good. There's a nice little short position on Reddit too, guys. So Reddit is just ripping higher right now. 192 now on Reddit. Stock is up 18% after hours, up 28% on the day. Unreal move there. Let's talk about some positions that I'm already in. Now, one of them might surprise you. The other one maybe may not. Let's start with the one that might surprise you first. I actually shorted Meta today. And I know that might sound crazy to a lot of people. But here's what I did. I felt that the markets were going to pull back today. So in the pre-market session, when I'm talking to all of our members, and we're going over our watch list, we're talking about what we think from the market. We had the gap up on all this excitement with earnings, but I still feel like the markets are tired. I feel like this rally is getting long in the tooth, and I feel like we're getting geared up for a little bit of a profit-taking pullback. So we had some really good resistance at 782 after hours yesterday on Meta and in the pre-market also this morning. So what I did, let me show you. I can't show you yesterday's after hours data. Damn. Well, I'll just show you this real quick. So here's the pre-market data, right? So there's your pre-market data, and I'll draw a line right across the pre-market high, right? So here's pre-market, right? These are pre-market tops, right? So it's pre-market resistance. Yesterday, when the company reported earnings, it shot up to 782, and it went, and you had resistance at 782 as well. So it was resistance up there in the after hours yesterday. And then that was still resistance in the pre-market today. I felt that the market was going to pull back today. So two of my trade ideas coming into the day were short Microsoft and short Meta. Microsoft had an exactly similar scenario. You look at the pre-market session on Microsoft, and you can see the resistance that you had up here around the 560s, which also lined up with the after hours top of Microsoft in the 560s. So since I felt that the gap up on the overall market was going to fade, I wanted to look to fade Microsoft and Meta off those resistance levels. I'll tell you this, though. These were extremely risky trades. And I told all of our members before the day started, I came into the day, I got on the mic, and I said, listen, I'm going to take a risk today. All right? I said, I'm going to take a risk today. This is what our game plan is. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to adjust my position size down to account for the extra volatility of the earnings, and also and also take into account the risk that I'm taking, because I'm going after a quick day trade short on two stocks that have gapped up to all-time highs on massive earnings beats. That's typically not the recipe for a day trade for the short side. It was more of a play that I was making on the overall market, and I wanted to fade those off of those resistance levels, and that was what we went through, and that was what we went for, and that was what we did. So I was able to step. Well, some members just jumped on You could took Microsoft. Microsoft was a much better trade to the downside of a much bigger pullback. But I went ahead and I shorted Meta right off, shortly after the open. When we popped right into that resistance level, I went ahead and I took the trade short there. And you can see we kind of faded it out as the day went on. And we actually closed right down here near lows. Did not get the pullback that I was looking for. I was really looking for Meta to get down into the 760s, 750s today. I reduced some of the position. I took a little bit of profit off, but I still am short some, as I feel like the markets were kind of gearing up for a little bit of a pullback. And I'm just looking for Meta to give me a candle that looks something like this for tomorrow. I'm just looking for the stock to do something, a candle that looks like this. Okay. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Just a little bit of a profit taking. This is a massive gap up on the overall market. And this is now 3 consecutive days that we've had good news from the market. We've not been able to move higher. So I look at that as, the markets are tired. Okay. I look at that as the markets are tired, and I think we might get a little bit more of a pullback. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Apple and their conference call. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking about there with regards to Meta. I'm already in that. Well, Apple's starting to push back up towards those highs. We'll see if you're able to break through it. No, we haven't started yet. Conference call has not started yet. Yeah, not yet. Let's see. Well, I'm really interested to see the conference call if there's any discussion about that. All right, I'll keep eyes on it, because I think that 215, 216 is a massive level for Amazon. For Apple, massive level for Apple. Okay. The other position that I've been in this position since yesterday. I'm just giving you guys the updates on my positions. You do with it whatever you please. I'm short Spotify. Okay. I'm short Spotify from 645. Okay. Short Spotify from 645. The stock is currently 625. My target is 600 and lower. Okay. Now, why did I go after this trade for the short? Let me explain. I look at Spotify in a very similar light as I look at Netflix. 2 stocks that are completely oblivious to tariffs, that are not impacted by tariffs, that have become defensive stocks in their own way, because in an economic slowdown, nobody is canceling their Netflix account. If anything, you're going to lean on your Netflix because you're going to go out a lot less. You're going to go out to dinner less. You're going to go to the movies less. You're going to go to sporting events and concerts less if the economy was to slow, or if you were to lose your job, or whatever it is. So there's been this interesting category that's been built over the years of defensive growth. These are high growth tech companies that have a defensive element because of a cheap subscription that has worked its way into your everyday life that you are not going to cancel if you lose your job. If you lose your job, you're going to sell your BMW and you're going to get a cheaper car. If you lose your job, you're going to stop going out to dinner. You're not going to go to sporting events. You're not canceling your Netflix account. Okay. Maybe you stop buying organic blueberries and you buy regular blueberries. Like, you're going to make changes elsewhere. You're not canceling your Netflix account. Same thing could be said for Spotify. Although I think someone would be far more likely to cancel a Spotify account than they would cancel a Netflix account. Netflix, I think, has that protection. Okay. Now, and the reason why I'm talking about Netflix is because Netflix had really good earnings, and the stock still went down 5% on the day that they announced. And since then, the stock has gone down much lower. This is the day that they reported earnings. Okay, that red day, down 5%. It's much lower today. Top and bottom line beat, and they raised guidance for the next quarter, and they raised guidance for the full year. Stock still went down 5%. So I said to myself, okay, that's interesting. It was a very crowded trade to the long side, right? It was a very crowded trade to the long side. Okay. And people began taking profits. Look what the stock has done over the last 3 years. I mean, come on, right? So I just feel like it was just a way for people to go ahead and start taking some profit. Spotify, very similar type of chart, right? This defensive growth type of play. Okay. But their earnings were not good. They actually had disappointing earnings, and they had this huge gap down, right? So there's its gap down on earnings with a disappointing earnings. Netflix was actually good earnings, and the stock still went down and continued to go down for the next 2 weeks. Spotify has disappointing earnings. Stock goes down, and I think it's going to continue to go down for the next 2 weeks. You also have a head and shoulders pattern that is triggered against a major level of support. Now we look for that level to be resistance. I'll show you the head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head. There's your neckline. There's your support at the neckline. There's your support at the neckline. You broke that when they had earnings 2 days ago. We bounced back yesterday because people are used to buying the dip on Spotify because stock's been a monster. So I waited for the bounce back yesterday, and yesterday we went ahead and took the trade short at 645. I'm short there from 645. Stock is currently 626. Okay. But I'm looking for more downside. I'm looking for Spotify to do, to work its way down under 600. Okay. I'm looking for the stock to do something that looks like this and work its way down deeper into like the 580s. So then I can take profits into the 200-day moving average, which is the yellow line you see on my screen. Okay. So I took that trade short. You have the 9 EMA that's working its way to the downside now underneath 670 to give me added resistance. And we're going to see if we can get this thing down sub 600 in the next couple of weeks. So those are two positions that I'm already in. I am already in Spotify. I'm already in Meta. Okay. Now let's take a quick check back over to Amazon. Amazon is bouncing off of that support level. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that this was able to take place right here live. I called it out to you guys live. The earnings came out. I said, you have a minor support level at 227. I don't think that holds. Look for the stock to test 223. We then drop down. We go to 222.50. There's your 223. And then I said, let's look for the stock to try to bounce from there. And then there's your bounce now back to 229. I don't know if there's anybody that's on this live stream that is trading after hours. If you are, my goodness, that could have been a phenomenal trade to the long side for anyone that is trading the equity in the after hours session. I'm not trading it live. I'm here with you guys going over the analysis and covering the news and everything else. But that's a beautiful bounce. That's a beautiful bounce there on Amazon. All right. Then you have Apple headed back to the downside. Again, not able to break that resistance level. We're going to need something AI related, I believe, to get us through that level. Just know, okay, just know that if you hear anything about AI news with Apple, and then you look at a chart, right? And then you look at a chart, and if you see Apple above 216, just know that I'm going long. McLovin, way to go. McLovin goes, I caught it because of you. Now I will join. Jalen caught Amazon. You guys here? You guys just caught that trade? Well done. McLovin, well done. Jaylene, well done. Great job, guys. I love this. McLovin says, now I'm going to join. McLovin, I like your style. I like your style. I really do. I like your style, brother. You're like, you know what? Let me see what this guy has to say. Right? Let me see what this guy has to say. Let me, let him prove his worth. And then I'll join. McLovin, I appreciate that. Listen, that goes for anybody else, right? That goes for anybody else. How many people, you know what? Here's what I'll tell you. Members of True Trading Group, right? Members of True Trading Group. Oh, McLovin, look what you did. Now you're booted. Oh, McLovin, now you're booted. What a shame. Now you're booted. What a shame. The losers are out today, boy. The losers are out today. I don't have time for it. The losers are out today. What a shame. Sorry, McLovin. Better luck. Better luck next time. So close, right, Zach? So close. So close. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'm just going to prove a point, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. Here's the point I'm going to prove. And then anyone here that's not a member of True Trading Group, the choice is yours. Enough is enough. Members of True Trading Group, type the number 1 if you're making money. Very simple, straightforward question. Just type the number 1 if you're making money as a member of True Trading Group. Anyone that's not a member, pay attention. Pay attention and count how many people you see type the number 1. So when you ask me, should you join True Trading Group? The answer is yes, and this is the reason why. So if you want to make money like the rest of these members, then join True Trading Group. If you don't, I don't care. We've got over 10,000 members in 114 different countries with agreements with the NASDAQ, agreements with Benzinga. We received the Benzinga FinTech Chairman's Award. We're the fastest growing FinTech company that is involved with the retail trader when it comes to True Trading Group and active day trade, swing trade, long-term investing. We cover it all. We trade stocks, we trade options, we trade futures, we trade crypto. We do it all. If you guys want to join True Trading Group, fantastic. Go to ttgoffer.com. Everything on that page is included for $599. It's just that simple. Can't make the $599 back at least once? Great. I'll give you back $1,198. I'm going to give you back double your money if you can't make back your membership fee at least one time. Go through our courses, pass our quizzes, use the AI that we have on our platform. And if you still can't make $599, I'll give you back $1,198. It's just that simple. If you want to join 10,000 members from 114 different countries, if you want to start to make money like the members you just saw, type the number 1, then go ahead and go to ttgoffer.com and join. If you don't, then don't. I don't know why you're on my live stream. Get off of it. Don't come back. Go hang out in Discord rooms. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. There's too much going on. There's too much money to be made. Markets are at all-time highs. Stocks, large cap stocks are moving like small caps and mid caps. They are. It's either take this serious and try to better your life and better your financial situation, or go do something else. Go do something else. All right? Don't have time for it. Send us a text message with questions, 1-888-621-2127. Again, that is 1-888-621-2127. Text us with questions, 1-888-621-2127. Members of True Trading Group, you can head back on into the main chat. We are going to be showing you guys the AI charts. So we have implemented the AI onto our charting software. Okay? So we've implemented our AI platform onto our charting software. So if you guys want to see what that's all about, we're going to demo it for all of our members here now inside the main chat. You guys can head into the main chat now. The main chat is open. We have to welcome Afif, who just joined. Afif said, I'm ready to take it seriously. Afif, welcome to True Trading Group. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Afif, welcome to TTG. That is ttgoffer.com. Everything on that page included. the core tier of our AI and trading assistant that we call Mari. All of our courses, our trade alerts, our chat room, trading view, trade idea scanner, unusual options activity, dark pool data. It's all there. It's all included in the $5.99. We do have higher tiers of AI that cost more money if you want. But when you join our annual membership, you do get the core tier of that AI platform included for the $5.99. If you can't make it back, again, you can't make $5.99 back once. I'll give you back $1,198. That's the deal. It's right there in black and white on the website and the checkout page. Go check it out and see it for yourself. If you have any questions, text us 1-888-621-2127. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Members, head back into main chat. I'll see you guys all in a little while. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys all later. Take care.